Jake and Emily had always been drawn to the charm of old houses. When Jake's job brought them to Manila, they jumped at the chance to live in a historic Victorian house in Binondo. The neighborhood was bustling, a mix of old-world charm and vibrant street markets. It was in one of these markets that their adventure began. On a humid Saturday afternoon, they wandered into an antique shop tucked away in a narrow alley. The shop was a treasure trove of curiosities filled with dusty books, vintage jewelry, and peculiar artifacts. It was there that Emily spotted the Dollhouse. It was an exquisite piece, intricately detailed and remarkably well preserved. Each room was furnished with tiny, delicate furniture, and the exterior mirrored the very house they had just moved into. The shopkeeper, an old man with piercing eyes, seemed eager to part with it. "This dollhouse has a long history," he said cryptically. "It's been passed down through generations." Intrigued, they purchased the dollhouse and brought it back to their new home. One evening, while exploring the dollhouse, Emily decided to rearrange the miniature furniture in the living room. The next morning, they found their own living room had been mysteriously rearranged in the exact same way. Amused and a bit spooked, they began experimenting. They changed the color of the walls in the dollhouse kitchen, and overnight, their kitchen walls changed color too. At first, it was a delightful novelty. They used the dollhouse to redecorate their home without lifting a finger, creating their dream interior with just a few adjustments. One night, they awoke to the sound of shuffling in the attic. When they went to investigate, they found the dollhouse's interior had changed drastically. The once cozy rooms were now dark and foreboding. Tiny cracks appeared in the walls, and the miniature furniture was overturned. Emily shivered as she saw the tiny bed in the master bedroom, now fitted with sinister-looking restraints. The changes began manifesting in their real house. Cracks appeared in the walls, doors creaked open on their own, and they often felt an oppressive presence in the air. Desperate to understand what was happening, Jake and Emily began researching the history of their home and the dollhouse. They visited local historians, scoured old newspapers, and interviewed longtime residents of Quiapo. What they discovered chilled them to the bone. Their house had a dark past. It had once belonged to a wealthy Spanish family during the colonial era. The patriarch, Don Miguel, was a man of power and cruelty. Emily stumbled upon an old journal in the attic, hidden beneath the floorboards. It was Isabella's. Her entries revealed her deep loneliness and the strange connection she felt to the dollhouse. She wrote about her father's violent outbursts and how she used the dollhouse to escape into a world of her own. Her final entries were desperate and fearful, hinting that the dollhouse had taken on a life of its own. Determined to break the curse, they devised a plan. They would recreate the events leading to Isabella's death using the dollhouse, hoping to bring closure to her spirit. They meticulously arranged the tiny rooms to match the descriptions in Isabella's journal, setting the stage for the final confrontation. On the night of the reenactment, a storm raged outside, adding to the eerie atmosphere. As they moved the tiny figures in the dollhouse, they felt a tangible shift in the air. Shadows danced on the walls, and the temperature dropped drastically. Suddenly, the attic door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The dollhouse began to glow, and they saw the tiny figures move on their own. The miniature Don Miguel appeared, his face a mask of rage, advancing towards the tiny Isabella. As the scene played out, the room filled with a suffocating darkness. Emily clutched Jake's hand, and they recited the final passage from Isabella's journal, begging her spirit to find peace. The glow intensified, and a piercing scream echoed through the attic. The dollhouse shook violently before collapsing into itself. The oppressive presence lifted, replaced by a calm, almost serene silence. When the storm cleared, Jake and Emily found themselves in a transformed attic. The cracks in the walls were gone, and the air felt lighter. The dollhouse lay in ruins, but among the debris, they found a small, delicate locket. Inside was a portrait of Isabella, her expression finally at peace. Jake and Emily had uncovered the dark history of the dollhouse and broken its curse. They left the attic, feeling a deep sense of relief and closure. Their house was no longer haunted, and they vowed to honor Isabella's memory, ensuring that her story would never be forgotten.